Yes, LSU caps it off with Mike Jones, or with Brian Thomas, I should say, at wide receiver, coming into the fold here after National Signing Day, as Lon has outlined. 13th rated, that's the composite. Number 9, according to 247 Sports, or Rivals, and some others, maybe ESPN, not as high on Brian Thomas, but Lon tells us the number 2 wide receiver in the country, according to his eyes. And again, a class that finished in the top 5 in the nation. Starts out 2022, Lon, at number 3 in the country, which the ranking doesn't mean a whole lot at this point. But in the case of LSU, it does, because we expect it to pretty much hold all the way throughout. So they got 9 hard commits right now. Why don't you run down some of those guys that you're most knowledgeable of and would like to highlight?
Well, I mean, this has been all about protecting the boot. I mean, LSU finished 2021 protecting the boot strong, but 2022 is gone. I mean, they've doubled down on that. 19 local offers. And here's what I'm talking about, that, 2021, there's some disappointment on the offensive line. Tristan Lee, that type of stuff. J.C. Latham, the Brockermeyer brothers, some big misses. But it doesn't matter, because LSU's 2021 roster is already locked and loaded with a ton of offensive line gems. But then you go into 2022, and that's where the talent, for the local offensive line talent, is. Will Campbell. I don't know how this man is not a 5-star. Unbelievable. You put him right up there with Lyle Collins or Andrew Whitworth as an absolute local Louisiana offensive line colossus. He belongs in that, right in that category. Will Campbell, it was no mystery he was going to be a Tiger. Following him is Bo Bordelon, whose father, Ben Bordelon was a captain on the '96 Tigers. He's joining as well. He's only a 3-star, but I don't really agree with that. I think he's more at least a 4-star at this point. He's very raw, still undeveloped parts of his game, but Bo, I really see him as being a fantastic guy for this team. Lucas Taylor, offensive guard out of Alabama, out of St. Paul's Episcopal. This guy, 6'3.5", 314. This guy is an absolute beast. Number 8th overall in his position. I think even that's underrating him a bit. Lucas Taylor is huge for what LSU is trying to do. But Corey Raymond has just been pulling it in Louisiana with the corners. Jadarian Rhyme, LaTerrence Welch, both of those guys just unbelievable dudes. I feel like they're very underrated as well. Jadarian Rhyme out of Valdosta, Georgia. He's not really getting too much of a play, but I think he's an absolute freak in the secondary. LaTerrence Welch out of Lafayette. That guy, I see unbelievable things for his future. DeColdis Crawford at receiver. This guy, DeColdis Crawford, LSU Odyssey was in the process of doing an interview with him, and hopefully we can finish that very soon, because our fans would just love to hear from DeColdis. This guy, not only does he have the best name of all time, he could be one of the most versatile players I've seen along the wide receiving unit for LSU since, Alfred. Let's think here. There's been so many. He's kind of like a Percy Harvinish guy. He's just very, like, you could put him anywhere on the field. I see a lot of end arounds being run with this guy. I see a lot of putting him in motion. DeColdis Crawford, he's a very, very unique specimen in the wide receiving ranks here. But the 2022 class, it's already stocked. It's already locked. It's already loaded. Aaron Anderson as well out of New Orleans, a little undersized at 5'10", 185, but he just can move the chains. But it's all begins with that quarterback, Walker Howard. It's out of St. Thomas More, his first season starting, win the state title game with him and his best friend Jack Besh, receiver who's already committed to LSU as part of the 2021 class. Walker Howard just went nuts. I wouldn't say he's better than Garrett Nussmeier, but he's damn close. This kid, you got to put on his tape and just watch. Superlatives, my hyperbole, none of that will suffice. Just put on Walker Howard's tape from this last year, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about and why we're repping him so high. This kid is incredible.
9 commits right now. So if you do the math, you're talking about well over a third of the class, if they hold on to these commits, are already in the fold for a class that's projected right now as a top 3 class in the nation. Walker Howard, third-rated quarterback in the country. He's a top 30 prospect overall, despite regardless of position. And I'm running down this as you're picking off player after player. And again, the commitment to Louisiana, putting up the fence is obvious. And the offensive line commitment to fortify, protecting those skill position players is obvious too.
And hey, Shaz Preston out of St. James, receiver, he is not committed yet, but I feel like Shaz Preston is a huge, huge automatic for LSU. We did lose Brian Allen Jr. out of Aledo High, teammate of JoJo Earl, but I didn't really feel like that was too big of a loss. The kid was really massively undersized, and he didn't really seem to be down with LSU. I don't know why he committed if he wasn't so down, but he was quite topsy-turvy. Sad to see him go, but if it's for his best, then that's fine. But Shaz Preston, receiver out of St. James, this kid coming into his senior year is going to take over the Louisiana football game. He's going to absolutely dominate in Louisiana high school this coming season.
Shaz Preston, according to the composites, a top 67 player in the country, number 9 wide receiver, third-rated in Louisiana.
You know what? His coach Robert Valdez just says absolutely nothing but the best things about him, and he said nothing about the best stuff, concerning Savion Jones. So I take Coach Valdez at his word. He's a great man, and I think he's a fantastic coach at developing these guys. Shaz Preston, once again, he reminds me of this kind of JoJo Earl, Percy Harvin type, where he's just this really fast, put him wherever you want type of guy. But he can make any catch as well. And he's
Alabama,
only better.
Yeah, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State are coming hard as well after Mr. Preston. All right, Lon Phillip Sullivan on the line from LSU Odyssey, breaking down the 9 early commits here for 2022. And, of course, Brian Thomas and Mike Jones in the fold as well for LSU to try to get back into title contention here in the fall of 21. Lon, we always appreciate you stopping by, breaking things down for us. And I'm going to put a big task on you this next time. We're going to break down the 2021 class player by player.
I'm ready for you, man. Let's do it.